Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis, and this is Reverend Don's Vlog. And tonight our question comes to us from Eric Hebert, and Eric has this question: what would I recommend to a person who is experiencing stage fright in ritual? And in the original question, Eric asked not about stage fright in general, but specifically referenced a person doing their first quarter call as an example. But the answer, of course, is going to be general. And there are a lot of different circumstances in which a person might have stage fright in ritual. It might be their first time, it might be their second time, might be new people present, maybe they're always self-conscious and still working on that shadow work that will eventually help with that. Maybe it's a new situation, maybe it's at a large public event instead of a small temple that they're more accustomed to. There are a lot of reasons they might have stage fright. Um, and I think everyone, when they begin, has some of that. So what are my recommendations for it? Well, there are several, and they're not mutually exclusive, certainly. And um, they are to some extent dependent on the exact circumstances. My very first recommendation is to remember that you're among friends, and particularly since they're most likely going to know it's your first time, they won't expect you to be perfect. So do your best and everything will be fine. And remind yourself of that as you prepare. I think that is one of the best pieces of advice I can give. And similarly, when someone else is doing it, remember to be equally forgiving of any errors they might make. People, even when they've been doing this for decades, will occasionally have an error, sometimes quite a major one. And you know what we do when that happens? We keep right on going. We don't let things like that distract us from what we're actually there for, which is not perfection of words, but a particular outcome that we're desiring to create. So don't get caught up in the words, whether you're doing it or whether you're taking part in it. Um, if there's an error at that level, don't worry about it. If a person is hesitant um, about their part in the ritual, be understanding. Um, we're all people, we're all doing our best. And that's my first and most important piece of advice on this subject. And it's equally important whether you're the person who is experiencing the stage fright or other nervousness, or whether you're someone else in that ritual, to not allow it to overwhelm what you're there for. And to be human, to be understanding, to be compassionate. If you're doing that, everything should be fine. I am aware that there are certain traditions where perfection is more important than others, but in the tradition I come from, we're far more concerned with the effect of what we're doing, with everyone being happy with what we're doing, with everyone feeling welcome and supported. So the first thing I'd say is, don't worry about it that much. Second thing, how do you overcome stage fright in general? The answer is practice. The more you do it, the less stage fright you'll have. And when you're having that very first one, you need to remind yourself of all the reasons that you really don't need to be frightened, which I've just talked about, and do it anyway. And if you mess up, well, you messed up. Chances are, particularly if you're in a temple where you are attending regularly, they know it's your first time, or one of your first times, and they will be understanding. And if they're not, maybe you shouldn't be there. So do it, try not to worry about it, and do it a lot. Practice it before you actually come to do it live. Um, if you're finding you're having stage fright and ritual, take part in all the more rituals for that reason. You'll find that you soon wonder why you were afraid in the first place, because it will become second nature as you do it more and more. One of the best pieces of advice I was ever given on this subject had to do with doing classes rather than rituals, but the advice was, even if nobody comes, give your class anyway. It will make the next one better. It will help you overcome any hesitancy. It will help make your message smoother. Practice makes perfect. Same with ritual. Um, you cannot expect to be a highly accomplished ritualist the first time that you're doing it. It develops over time. The longer you do it, the better you'll become. the more you do it, the better you'll become. So my second piece of advice is do a lot of it. And don't allow your fears to overpower you. Power through them, do it as many times as you need to develop that smoothness that will come. And my advice in ritual in general, if you happen to make a mistake, do not call attention to it. Keep going. Correct it if you can. Ignore it if you can't. Keep going. Chances are nobody's going to notice or remember it if you follow that advice. If, on the other hand, you call attention to it, everyone's going to remember it. And I began by talking about it. Even people who have done ritual for years and years and years can still have this problem. I remember once attending a ritual at a non-Wiccan temple, which had a different way of doing ceremonies. But they also had a mixed membership. And that night they happened to have a reporter present for their ritual, which was a public ritual. And the high priestess cast the circle in the opposite direction of what she had intended, because in that tradition, for whatever reason, they cast their circles counterclockwise, or at least for that particular ritual. Halfway through the circle, she stops, says, "Oh, I made a mistake," explains it, and then turns around and goes the other way. Only thing that reporter noticed out of that whole ritual was that. And every person present remembered that, I'm sure. Had she merely gone all the way around, turned around, and come back the correct way, nobody would have really noticed at all. Don't call attention to your deficits. And I want to say hello to the people in the chat room, and hello Eric, hello Arlene, hello Mary, get well soon Mary, hello Sharon, hello Brian, hello Maverick, hello everyone. It's nice to have you watching. In fact, I will move my screen down to where I can see what people are saying. And it's good to see everyone. Another example, and hello Michael, another example, one lustration maybe 15 years ago. I had an accomplished archpriestess totally blow her part in the ritual. It was not the lustration ceremony itself. It was one of the lesser rituals during the weekend. And I did what I commonly do. I didn't give any warning of who I was going to ask to do things. I just said, Archpriestess X, will you do the fire and the water? And apparently she was so overwhelmed by the suddenness of the request that she totally forgot how to do what she must have done 1,000 times. And that was my reaction to it. I know she knows how to do it. She's done it 1,000 times. I put her on the spot. That was the issue. And nobody was worried about it. Everything was straightened out. The ritual went beautifully. Nothing to worry about. Hello, Lady Katharina. And that's how I think you should handle these things. No matter how long you've done it, there can always be something that throws you off. Now, I do have a couple of other pieces of advice, however, that probably is more what people are actually looking for. And a lot of the advice I've given is not only for the person who might be experiencing stage fright, but for the other people present. This is specifically for the person. Remember that we are here practicing magic. There are a lot of kinds of magic, of shadow work that you can use to address stage fright. For me, the one that I would first recommend would be to do a burning. Either to do a burning to increase your confidence or a burning to send away your stage fright. I've always found burnings to be very evocative and quickly successful. There are, of course, many other ways to do it, but you want to do a manifestation to address the issue. I think you'd find that would help a great deal. You might need to do it more than once, that's okay. But I would recommend using magic. I'd also recommend more extreme forms of shadow work if you're in a place in your practice where you know them, such as a soul retrieval, or any number of shadow work techniques that you might use to address an issue like this. If you have been a solitary for a long time and you know all those techniques but have not done public ritual and you find yourself coming up on one and feeling stage fright, use the techniques you've learned. Magic does us no good if we don't use it, and it does us no good if we can't use it. And one of the things I always like to say is that studying magic would have no point if that magic isn't going to help us when our car is skidding off the road. Um, Magic must be something that we can use when we need it, and luckily it is. I know that there are certain traditions which hold other views, but I'm not talking to them. I'm not talking for them. I'm talking for the background I come from, which is your magic is useful when you need it, and you should use it when you need it. And magic actually should be one of your first answers to many situations, and this is one of them. If you're feeling stage fright and you are sufficiently advanced in your practice to do a manifestation, to send it away, or to increase your confidence, or both, do that. I think you'll find it helps tremendously. Another thing you can do, we talk about it in our third degree book, and I believe that you can see a whole box of them in the background in the office, but that's beside the point. Uh, we talk about using a golem. That is to say, a thought form that you would then practice your speech, your class, your ritual, whatever it is you need to do. You would practice it with your created golem, your created thought form, which would act as your audience to give you practice in learning how you wish to present this and becoming comfortable in doing so. That's another technique you can use. There are a lot of magical techniques that you could use. And the good thing about the golem is it will give you feedback. It's not just like imagining the audience naked like people talk about. It's more than that, because the golem will react to you. It will tell you where there are problems, assuming you have programmed it accordingly. There are a lot of things like this that you can do that will address your stage fright and help you to overcome it. So these basically are the different things I would recommend, whether it's a quarter call, whether it's a public speaking appearance, whether it is addressing the Parliament of the World's Religions. And the most important thing is, do not allow it to overwhelm you. Yes, it's perfectly natural in many of these situations to have some stage fright. There's nothing wrong with that. You shouldn't feel bad about it. These are what you can do about it. Practice magical techniques to help to deal with it through shadow work, and remembering you're among friends. And there are very few situations you're likely to encounter where you aren't really among friends. There are some, but that's not likely to be your first occasion doing these things. So I hope that that is helpful for you, and I hope that when you find yourself dealing with stage fright, some of these things may be able to help to lay that at ease. And thank you for watching the vlog, and until next time, may you blessed be. And remember to hit like, subscribe, or share according to the platform you're seeing the vlog on. And until next time, again, may you blessed be.